Hi, I'm Yannick Hanfman.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
This is Sebastian Wolfner.
It's Marc-Andrea Whistler.
I am Francisco Cerundolo.
And you're listening to the GTL podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. Day 3 is in the books. And we had some great victories from some great young players. Raducanu, a fantastic return against Shelby Rogers. Iga Swiatek showing Sofia Kenin how it's done. And Carlos Alcaraz, he starts his campaign with a amazing victory over Richard Gasquet. Isn't that right, JG?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed you didn't include Jack Draper in your intro.
Wow.
I thought he was outstanding, despite getting pushed quite a hard way, really, all the way to the depths. I thought Jack Draper would have been all right in straights, but it wasn't to be. The main thing is he is through, and I think day 3 will be remembered for a really good day for the British players. It was good for some of the big players as well, like Carlos Alcaraz, Iga, and we're going to go through it all right now. Apologies it's late. As you can see, me and Ben are in the office and a lot has happened today, so we've been unable to bring this to you any sooner. But maybe the best place to start is, before we get up the results, let's start with what I wanted to talk about, and that is Jack Draper. So, the big story with this one is, like you say, it went all the way to 5.
Yep.
He did very well in the 5th set. Remind me of the score.
I believe he bageled him, didn't he? No, that was in the 4th set.
4th and 5th, he come through really strongly, but 6-2 as well in the 5th. And as he's about to shake hands with Giron, he come over really sick and he was struggling to do it. And this is what he had to say after the match. He said, I kind of felt bad because I obviously just beat the guy and I was saying, I need to shake your hand, mate, but I need to get to that bin. And you see him on the video throwing up. And
terrible.
The only concern about all of this is Jack Draper, as an athlete, as a tennis player right now, is one of the best.
Yeah.
He's so good, like a top 10 player. We watched him at UTS, he cleaned up, beat everyone. He started the year fantastically, only just losing to a final against Lehechka in Australia. But my concern for him has always been the physicality and the conditions. He struggled a few times. You've seen him faint in America. We've seen him now getting sick playing in Australia. And don't get me wrong, it's hot. There's been a lot of players who have retired, who are more experienced, who have been here time and time again, who are struggling. But with Jack Draper, to win a Grand Slam, he's going to have to play a lot of matches. And I'm just not sure if we're seeing this from the first round, if we're going to see him even get that big matchup with, is it Alcaraz? The one that we're really hoping for? The Alcaraz one, which would be quarterfinals, I believe.
I think it's even sooner than that he would have to face him. I believe it'd be, is it 4th round potentially?
I thought quarters, but whatever one it is, it's definitely the big match we really would like to see. I don't think he's going to get there now, not because of his ability, but because of his physicality. I don't know if you agree.
Well, you've got to take into consideration as well who he's playing. He's not playing the top echelon, top 10 players. He's played Marcus Giron, and no disrespect to Marcus Giron, but I don't see him winning the Australian Open. And if he's going to come up against someone like an Alcaraz, who he can play in any conditions, his body seems to cope with it a lot better, and the physicality.
I just don't think we're going to get Draper Alcaraz now, based off.
Well, if we do, if it goes to 5, and look, he had 6-2 and a 6-love to finish. Imagine if there'd been 7-6, 7-6 to finish, he may not have even finished.
Yeah, but do you think we're going to get that matchup now?
Well, I think the big question is, will he be able to get through his next round opponent, which I'm just going to bring up.
It's going to be someone who's all right because they've just won a match. Let's bring it up, see who it is.
So next round for him, it's Tommy Paul.
Exactly, so that was a repeat of...
They just played.
A matchup they've just played.
And that was in Adelaide.
Paul is defending semi-final points.
Yes, that's correct as well.
He went really far here in Australia. So I think now, I wouldn't have thought this before, but I think he will lose to Tommy Paul.
He's played him twice in Adelaide and beaten him twice in Adelaide.
That doesn't mean anything. I think he's going to now... It's getting to that time where physically he's going to start struggling a little bit. The pressure of the Grand Slams as well. But let me know in the comment section. Am I wrong in saying that? Of course, I will want him to win. He's the man I'm supporting. I want to see Draper Alcaraz because I think that is the real matchup, the popcorn matchup, the one we're going to have for the future as well of the sport.
Yeah.
Because them two are going to be around for many, many years and having some good battles.
What do you reckon he has to do what does he have to change to just be
Unfortunately, mate, he's British.
Yeah.
I don't think you can change where you're from.
Go and live in
But
Australia.
British players are always going to struggle playing in warm conditions.
Yeah.
The only one who's fine is Norrie because he's not really British.
Well, Murray didn't, but he spent a lot of his time over in Spain, and he spent a lot of his career in other destinations living just so that he can acclimatise. And I think Jack Draper, if he's to compete at the very top level, I think he may have to go live in a very hot climate for a few years.
Yeah.
And maybe that will be the telling factor of when he finally turns the corner.
Yeah, definitely some kind of different training maybe for him.
Yeah.
Moving on to another big story.
Yeah, I mean,
and this
come on.
one's Emma Raducanu. I feel we've got to go there next
Yes.
because it's another British player. And like I said, day 3 remembered for the Day of the Brits. She won convincingly, 6-3, 6-2, just over an hour. Against a tough opponent in Shelby Rogers. We know how she can play. I don't think it's the best version of her at all.
No.
But still,
Far from it.
a tricky one. We both had it in the brackets. I know I was sort of deliberating whether to put Raducanu out, but I believed that she would win, and she did.
Yes.
And this is what she's had to say. So she was asked to compare the Emma who walked out on court today versus the Emma who walked out on court 12 months ago. And she said that the Emma who walked out on court a year ago had a huge cyst removed about 10 days before, had to offload. I travelled here on a wheelchair. I only started hitting 3 days before the match. The whole process was a lot of stress. We weren't sure if I was going to be able to play here, so I think I was also in a way grateful to be able to have a chance to play. I didn't want to back out of the Australian Open, so I did everything I could. But I think this year and now there's just a lot more calm. I think I'm more level-headed. I think that things have settled around me. I do feel better, and there's just less, I would say, highs and lows. It's just more of an equilibrium.
Yeah. I think it's
She's levelled
great.
out.
And I think the one thing that people weren't speaking about enough, really, obviously she's had these injuries. We know that we keep on saying that our body's maybe a bit too frail. Maybe carrying injuries for so long and now getting them fixed, she can go in with like a clean bill of health into a tournament without having that in the back of her mind, without having something else that she's worried. She might have been having to play in a different game style, which may have been affecting other parts of her body. You never know. Like, she had 2 wrist surgeries and an ankle surgery, and now she actually is looking more like the one from the US Open that won it. And I don't say she's the final product. I don't even think she was the final product in the US Open. I thought she just won it by just playing well for 2 weeks. That's just what it was at the time. And now we're going to start to see her build, hopefully, if her body is now fully recovered. That's the beauty of it. And her first serve percentage today was fantastic. She was serving and winning 91% of her first serve points, which brilliant. That was the one thing at the US Open which really won her the tournament, I think. Every time she got the first serve in, she normally won the point. And I was really, really encouraged. Shelby Rogers is tough, but Raducanu was just hitting with confidence and looked confident on the court. Shelby Rogers, obviously someone she beat at the US Open when she won it. So maybe she'll be looking to that and going, maybe there's some parallels here. And just look towards that next match, which is not going to be an easy one. It's up against Wang. Yeah.
Wang, who beat Sestea, I believe. I
Yes.
thought it was going to be Sestea, and I had Sestea beating
Same.
Raducanu. I now think it's an easier draw in Wang, and I think she can win that one. I really do, and hopefully we can see her go through a few rounds, because her ranking's not great, is it?
296.
Yeah, so if she was to be able to get to a second week, she'll hopefully be pushing and knocking on the door of a top 100. And that's where we need to see her, because we want to see her in these events.
Yes.
And she'll have a lot more chances. Maybe she doesn't need them. She'll always get a wild card. But it's just better for her to be higher ranked, I feel, for seedings for events and other things. So a lot of opportunities. Yeah, that's the big one. But let's wait for that because we'll talk about Kenin Zheng in a minute.
Well, I was going to
or
say
Zhang.
maybe the potential of an all-British third round. Katie Boulter and Raducanu could meet in the next round if they both win. But Kenin Zheng, as you're saying, she is playing Katie Boulter.
Yeah, and there's always someone who likes to ruin the parade for all of the women. Let's talk about her. And this is, of course, Iga,
Yeah.
the world number 1. She has now, with the win today, remind me of who against?
Sophia Kenin, the 2020 champion.
She's got 18 consecutive Grand Slams, winning at least one match. And that's the longest active streak on either tour.
Wow.
So Djokovic doesn't have that streak. It's pretty amazing to say that whatever is thrown at her, she's going to win matches. She's never going to go to a Grand Slam and not win a match.
Yeah.
And that's how crazy it is. And Kenin was probably one of the toughest draws she could have had in a first round, really,
Definitely.
for a number 1. And Kenin played well, went to a tie break in the first set, but Iga threw again. And the second set was a little bit more convincing, wasn't it? Was it a 2?
Yes.
Yeah, 6-2 in the second. And as much as we're talking about the likes of Iga, the likes of Raducanu, Qinwen Zhang, ultimately, it's going to be such a big ask to get through her. Even the likes of Sabalenka and Raducanu, they're great, but it's just that extra player, I feel. She's the toughest player to beat on the women's, and you just see their class in the first round against a tough opponent.
Yeah, I mean, that was the tough one to get through. Next round, she was playing Danielle Collins.
She'll be all right now, I feel, for a few. It'd be good to see her against Svitolina if we are to get that one, but I still feel like she's going to be fine until we see a potential with
Ostapenko, maybe.
the Ostapenko one. That's
Yeah.
the one that worries me because of her record against Ostapenko.
Yeah.
Ostapenko, there's no God-given right she's even going to get there. We know what she's like, so
Started well, though.
I wouldn't bank on that at all.
Raducanu, she made it through as well. Had a bit of an early slip up against Pliskova, but managed to turn it round. She saved, I think it was 4 set points in the tie break, and then came through. I was impressed that she was able to come through that first set, but I think she would have won in 3 if she didn't. And
We'll go through some of them in a minute.
Yeah, go
Let's
on.
just quickly go to my last tweet I've got, and then we'll get all the scores
go
up.
for it.
And this may surprise you, but it's about, I think, one of the biggest stories. Any ideas what it is?
Well, yeah, because I can see. But we've been getting a lot of stick for putting Bublik through without even giving this guy a mention on our draw preview. So
Really? What, people were saying Summit Nagal?
yeah, well, we've got a few people Indian who watch us, and they were saying, "But how dare you just skip over the fact Summit Nagal got through his qualifying and looked really great." They said
I
he's
didn't give him
going
a
to beat him.
chance.
Wow.
I did not give him a chance in hell to beat Bublik, and he beat him in straight sets.
Yeah.
6-4, 6-2, and then a tie break to end it. 137 in the world. And this is a really good tweet because it just shows where he's come from, really, in the last sort of 12 months or so. And reading this, he's reflecting on making the Australian Open second round after only having €900 in his bank account in September.
Oh wow!
So he had pretty much not much at all.
Yeah.
And after today, of course, he's got a lot more, and he was reminded about that. How does it feel? He said, like I said, in the beginning, very emotional. Obviously, I'm not crying right now, but of course, at the same time, it hasn't completely sunk in yet. You know, these moments you'll go through as an athlete. Sometimes you'll have a good year, sometimes you'll have a bad year. Last year was probably one of my best years in terms of where, like I said, you know, €900, not getting into tournaments for the first few months, relying on wild cards in February to finishing 130 again. It's not an incredible or like, you know, record-breaking thing, but where I started, I was pretty proud of myself to be able to give myself another chance to be here, to qualify, like I said, play second round on Thursday. It's a good feeling.
Fair play. Oh, looks angry.
Angry photo of him there, but he's not going to be too angry when he looks at his bank balance. I think it's 125,000 or something.
Wow.
For winning this one, which is, of course, is a big improvement from the $900 or euros.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he has a potential maybe to even win his second round match because he's going to be up against the youngster Shang, who went through in 5 sets. Might be a bit tired. I mean, Nagal went through in straight sets, and that is going to benefit him, I feel, in that second round match.
I think that's tight, Nagal and Shang.
Same.
Something makes me want to edge with Shang, but then, I don't know. I think Nagal was going to win this one, and he did. So.
Question I'm going to pose to you is,
Pose away.
With there being no Nadal, are you going to turn your alliance to Nagal?
Why not? Why not?
Let's do it. Okay, there you go. That's confirmed. You've heard it here.
Now, from seeing all of the first round matches, of course, we've seen them all now.
Yes.
If I had to pick one player who I feel the biggest connection to, it would be Yannick Sinner. I feel the most behind him. Of course, there's no Rafa.
Yeah.
I've got to get behind someone. And if there's one player I really want to win, more than Alcaraz, more than anyone else,
More than Djokovic.
more than Djokovic, it's Yannick Sinner. I want to see him win the Australian Open. I thought he was amazing. I think he's turned a corner. He's such a great player, and he's repping Italy. So for me, Yannick Sinner is my pick of the first round. I don't know about yours on the men's.
You've got a lot of skin in the game there. Well, obviously, I'm going to be biased towards Djokovic, but I can't really just say Djokovic. I feel like the performance maybe of that first round has to probably go to Nagal, to be honest. Out of all of those results,
Yeah, I would say.
I think it's the most amazing. It's the one I didn't even
I think
consider.
it's maybe the biggest shock on the men's. Maybe someone can come up with another one. On the women's, probably Von der Alst for going out I thought was quite a big surprise. That took me by storm. But my favourite women's match may surprise people as well, because it's actually Raducanu. I think I'm happiest with that one out of all of them, and I'd like to see her go through a few rounds now.
Well, this is probably the person, obviously it's my dark horse for the tournament, and I think he's looking solid. Just won in Auckland.
What, are you going to do another men's?
How
How many do you want?
No, but Lehechka's the
Nagal,
one.
Lehechka, anyone else?
I
Why don't
feel
you go
like-
down the whole list?
All right, okay. I'd also like to pick, no, but I feel like Lehechka, he's just won a tournament and he's coming in good form, and he beat Zapata Morales straight sets as well. Next up is Mickelson for him. If he gets another straight sets win, Zverev, it could be a third round matchup, and he may fancy his chances against Zverev, who dropped a set against Dominic Kopfer in his first round match.
Right, let's go through the other scores and then we'll wrap it up. So, Kazu winning in 5.
Yeah.
He's been playing actually quite well if you look at his form prior, so fair play to him. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go.
Tight one, though.
The others, I kind of expected.
Yeah.
I even expected Zeppieri. I had it in my bracket, as you know. Nori, straight sets, nothing to say. This surprised me, Safulin losing.
Yes.
He was really good at Wimbledon last year. He's been good pretty much since. And what's he, 30 in the world now? And he lost to Griekspoor, who's also 30. So I understand it in that way, but I thought Safulin would have rolled him over.
We didn't give him a
especially after
chance.
the first set. I think the first set was dominant.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 6-2.
6-2, yeah, I remember
It was
watching
2 sets to love
It
up.
was at midnight last night.
2 sets to love up and let it slip, which I didn't expect. I mean, in that third set, it was a tie break that decided it. So he was quite close.
Yeah,
But
super, super tough one. You've mentioned Lehechka. These ones I saw coming, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I knew
Dimitrov.
he was going to win.
Yep.
Konsoon's not played at all. He's not in form.
Holger
We
Rune.
spoke about Draper. A bit on Runa. Dropped a set. Anything to worry about? Not for
Nah.
me. They're all quite close though. Not a vintage Runa performance.
No. Dan Evans out. You called that, I think. I went for Evans. But that's about it on the men's hole.
Zverev dropped a set.
There's one big one that we haven't really mentioned, and I feel like it's just because it's
Yeah.
stinging a little bit too much for me. It's
10-8 in the 5th.
Sebastian Ofnu gave an amazing performance, but went out in 5 sets to Kokkinakis. I mean, well played. It was all the crowd was against him. Every shot that he hit a winner, it
Flip
was
of a coin, that one.
It was silent every time he hit a winner. Felt a bit bad for him, to be honest. I feel he played brilliantly.
Yeah, Zverev, I don't think it means anything, him dropping a set.
No.
Alcaraz, I don't think it means anything having a tight first one, because after that he then worked out, oh, okay, I'm going to be like Alcaraz now. So I'd expect the next match for him to continue how he left off. A bit like Daniel Medvedev. He needed like a...
Yes.
They both didn't do any warm-up events. The first set there was a bit slow and then got going. But Alcaraz didn't even lose the first set and he was slow against a good player in Gasquet. So I don't think that's that bad.
I think it was in the second set or something. The first 2 sets, Alcaraz had, I think it was like 14 break points, but only took 3 of them. So he was not converting on his break points at all. But then you can see by the last set he was fine. So
right, let's get through these last ones. Stevens, easy. Kasatkina, that's
result.
a tight one, but she's been playing quite well.
Yep.
Danielle Collins, that surprised me. I thought Kerber might have had her, but she did all right, took a set. But I
Solid.
think too much. Probably Kerber, not at the level. Azarenka got through in 3.
Missing Navarro there. I think that was the one you had going out in the first round.
Did I?
Yeah.
I think I picked the wrong Wang, didn't I?
You said
I literally went for the wrong Wang. I had Sir Stayer and then this Wang.
Told me that was a good Wang.
Yeah, I think I got it wrong.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but I mean it was tight. It was 7-5 in the. I think Navarro probably deserved to win on the grand scheme of things after that first set. None of these to mention. The Sir Stayer ones does sting. This is the one I thought would have actually played Raducanu next, and I thought Raducanu would have gone out to Sir Stayer. I really like her. She's let me down actually. She really has.
Bought her a bit of a surprise, but she was the favourite, but she knocked out Yuan.
These ones we should speak about briefly.
Yeah.
So Ostapenko got through in straights. King Wing Zheng dropping a set has not impressed me.
Yeah.
I'm a bit critical of that one. Maybe she's not as ready as what we think she is at this event.
She's only played one match this year, and it was to Iga, and she lost in straight sets. So she's not really had a warm-up either.
Maybe that was just her. Maybe she'll be better in the next one.
Yeah.
Raducanu got through Pliskova, and Pliskova played well.
Yes. I mean, I thought Raducanu, that was
That's
a great
a tough
result.
draw, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like the Iga one. I think they're the two tough ones. Iga had Kenin, and Raducanu had Pliskova in an opening round for a Grand Slam is really tough.
Yeah, it gets easier.
I'm surprised. Yeah, it will get easier for both of them in the next few.
Blinkova next, and then maybe Tatiana Maria or Paolini next.
Yeah, so she's done well to get that one out of the way. I mean, 8-6 in the tie-break. It was tight. And only has one break in the second. Raducanu is a lot of people's champions. A lot of people have her winning the whole thing.
Yes.
So I bet there was some hearts in mouth at sort of 6-all in the tie-break there.
Yeah, most definitely. And Tomjanovic through, that one I think we both had, obviously being in Australia, expected her to win. She was the underdog, which I was surprised about. And Pegula, so comfortable. Didn't expect that to go any other way.
Typical Pegula performance, that one.
Yeah, solid.
And there we go. That sums up day 3 action. We are going to be back to cover some matches. We do have one at 1 o'clock in the morning, which Cover's going to cover, which is, I believe, Ons Jabeur versus
Mila Andreeva.
And in the morning, we're going to be covering Novak Djokovic.
Yes, come on.
On his quest for how many now? 25 or something like
25, 11 in Australia, and Alexei Popyrin will be the guy stands in his way between him and a round 3.
Yeah, at least the crowd would be really entertained with that one. Interesting to see how Djokovic deals with it. And the big one, of course, this is a good one, Chris Eubanks, Rublev. I'm really hoping Chris Eubanks can win. I'm going to be cheering him on. But thank you for joining. Apologies, it's really late. This is our day 3 summary. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and go listen to us on Spotify as well. But for now, we'll see you later on.